Hello, and welcome to my guide on dual spawn tormented demons. One might ask the question, why bother with dual spawns as opposed to a more relaxed experience doing single spawns? Well, dual spawn tormented demons can prove to be quite lucrative and a great deal more profitable than single spawns, being roughly 40% more efficient in kills per hour on average. That is, with single spawn, you can average around 135 kills per hour with decent efficiency, whereas doing dual spawns can net you over 185 kills per hour at maximum efficiency. Protecting yourself can be a bit tricky at first, but soon enough you'll get the hang of it and be rapidly dispatching them in no time. If you're not already familiar with fighting tormented demons, I recommend looking back at my single spawn tormented demons guide to get the hang of the basic mechanics before moving on to more advanced tactics. Unlike fighting single spawns, armor can play a vital role in camping dual spawns, as occasionally they'll be attacking you and hitting you on the same tick with differing styles. So armor can play a role in making sure you do not get hit. Moving on with the requirements. High melee stats are vital, as we'll only be utilizing the melee combat style thanks to our familiars. 87 summoning is required for the use of the Shadow Nile to help make their prayer swap. For the same reason, we'll also be using Dreadnips, utilizing magical Dreadnips. To cover the side of the combat triangle we are not currently using. Enhanced Darklight from the Dimension of Disaster is strongly advised, as we're aiming to kill these things quickly as to not take too much damage from the inactive ones. Utilization of a Scrimshaw Vampirism, superior or not, will help prolong the longevity of your trip in case you take hits every now and again. Access to or your own personal Slayer dungeon containing 2 Tormented Demon Souls will also be required. Cinderbane gloves are extremely worthwhile using here, as tormented demons are prone to poison, and the poison from them can also wind up stacking with your Dreadnought poison. On top of that, the poison hitting is typeless, naturally, and will assist you in dealing more damage to the tormented demons when they are protecting from melee. I highly recommend using a defender to minimize the strain of switching between a shield and a offhand, so you can simply use dual wield abilities and shield abilities at all times, and yes, we will need to use shield abilities. A Demon Horn necklace coupled with an attuned ectoplasmator will also help minimize stress on you by enabling you to maintain your prayer without any effort. A single piece of Demon Slayer gear can be used without compromising your accuracy. All other slots can be filled with Bandos gear or better, though I prefer unaugmented Bandos to stay cost effective. A Noxious Scythe or Dragon Rider Lance switch will also be necessary to enhance your damage output whenever both tormented demons get within melee distance of you, and the one not attacking you is prone to melee attacks. Now on to my inventory. Besides what I've already mentioned, I recommend bringing the following: a Shadow Nile pouch to summon at the start of our trip, a little bit of food, as occasionally they will hit you and you may or may not have Resonance up or your Enhanced Excalibur up, Holy Overloads, Excalibur also for heals in a pinch, charm placeholders just to keep your inventory organized, a rune pouch with alchemy runes to minimize how many inventory space you take up, a spring cleaner to reduce the strain on picking things up manually and alching them. Magic notepaper can also help in case you get a large amount of unique drops that do not stack, or if you're lucky enough to have the looting perk on something, which will occasionally produce runite ore, which you can then note. A Slayer Codex for quick teleportation, assuming you have 50 or more souls captured. Though my Revolution bar isn't the most optimal, it'll ensure constant use of abilities. Mine is optimized for utilization with my own personal preference of hotkeys, but feel free to alter it based on what you prefer. A few key abilities we're going to utilize here are Flurry, Hurricane, Reflect, and Resonance. Their importance will be explained further on. Getting started. If you remember my single spawn guide, you'll know exactly how to get to the Sunken Pyramid. Your initial couple of kills may or may not be smooth, depending on the distance of the TDs from one another. Apply the usual tactics for killing them, switching your prayers based on their attacks as necessary. If you're lucky, they'll be using the same combat style, which will require little in the way of prayer flicking. Just DPS them as the norm, switching to the other Tormented Demon once the first is killed. If they're both using different styles, but not too closely in terms of when you receive the hit, switch your prayers back and forth. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but you'll get it eventually. Now moving on to slightly more advanced tactics. Sometimes the Tormented Demon you're not currently fighting will utilize melee and come into melee distance of you. With both Tormented Demons in melee distance, if the one you're not currently fighting is not protecting from melee, you can employ this tactic to chip away at both of their hit points. Use Flurry to hit both of them, which will down the fire shield of the inactive Tormented Demon. From there, quickly switch to your Noxious Scythe or Dragon Rider Lance switch, and quickly as in before you get a second hit in, otherwise it'll protect. And use Hurricane for a high damage hit. And then swap back to your dual wield setup. Now once the first TD is dispatched, you can go on to the second with a decent chunk of its hit points gone. There's a chance you'll run into scenarios when both TDs are hitting you on the same tick or very close with differing styles. In situations like this, you'll want to utilize the Reflect ability to mitigate damage towards you, and you'll want to use the Protection Prayer against the style you have the highest affinity against, that is, the style most likely to hit you. In order, you will want to prioritize Magic Protection, Melee Protection, and Ranged Protection. If Reflect is on cooldown, you can use Resonance if you're missing a little bit of hit points to get a heal. If you activate Resonance, briefly flick your Protection Prayer to the style you have the lowest affinity towards you, that is, the style least likely to hit you, until you get the Resonance heal. Utilizing all these tactics, you should have no problem surviving for hours on end in a dual spawn Tormented Demon scenario. Also, a couple of afternotes. Have area loot on so you can simply drop a piece of food and loot it to get your drops. Alch the offhand Dragonclaw whenever you get a drop. They're the closest to the Alch price and most likely won't even sell for much above that in the Grand Exchange. However, the main hand Dragonclaw will. Your aura really doesn't matter here, though vampirism can kinda help if you're learning and really need the hit points restoration. Personally, I've averaged about 50,000 coins per kill over the span of 10,000 kills, so you can multiply that by about how many kills you're getting to get an approximation of your GP per hour. I hope you found this guide useful, and I hope your Tormented Demon kills are lucrative and easygoing. Thank you for watching.